Hello. Hi. My name is Tiffany Orda here, and I am doing the video report, the final worship site report that is due for this class, Introduction to World Religion. My student ID number is 1853214, and this is for Professor Ewing's class. The place of worship that I decided to do my report on is actually my church, Lake Pointe. I currently attend the North Dallas campus, but I used to attend the Town East campus in Mesquite for 7 years. I stopped going in 2021 to the Mesquite Town East campus a little bit after COVID, and was watching from home for a while, for about 6 months, 6 to 8 months, and then they opened the North Dallas campus, which is about 5 minutes away from where I was living at the time, and so I decided to change to the North Dallas campus around 2022, summer of 2022. So I've been going to the North Dallas campus of Lake Pointe for a little bit over a year. Overall, it's the same church. It's Lake Pointe. Lake Pointe originally, our main campus, our head campus, our corporate campus, whatever you want to call it, is in Rockwall. So the main Lake Pointe campus is out of Rockwall. It actually is the same building location, or parking lot, if you will, that used to be Church on the Rock. I don't know if you are from here aware of that, but Church on the Rock was pretty famous a long time ago, many years ago. And Lake Pointe Church bought it out, or took ownership over of it. So in Lake Pointe, Rockwall was just Lake Pointe Rockwall for a long time. And then they created the Town East campus. It's right across the street from Town East Mall in Mesquite. I believe that was the second one that was created to branch out from the one in Rockwall. And then they later started making the other ones. We have a total of 5 or 6 campuses now, I believe. So after the Rockwall, the main one, and then they branched out to Town East Mesquite. Then they also made another one in Forney, and then they made one in White Rock, which was called Lake Pointe White Rock Campus, but they actually that's been open for a while, but they just changed that name. I guess they didn't want to call it White Rock anymore, and so now it's called East Dallas. So instead of Lake Pointe White Rock, it's Lake Pointe East Dallas, but it's the same one. They just changed the name. I don't know why. So we have Rockwall, Town East, Forney, East Dallas, North Dallas, and Firewheel. So Rockwall, Town East, Forney, East Dallas, North Dallas, and Firewheel. So we have 6 locations. 6 locations that have branched out since, I don't know, Lake Pointe started branching out with more campuses, maybe 20 years ago or so. The history of Lake Pointe is, I know, because they still talk about it a lot at our church, is it started out with just like a group of 10 or 20 people. It started out with a group of 10 or 20 people doing their Bible study at their home, and then it just kind of led from there, and it grew from there, and it got bigger. And they started investing in buildings, and so it just kind of grew from there. Nonetheless, I said that to say that our church has been doing nothing but growing. The Lake Pointe used to have the word Baptist in their name, Lake Pointe Baptist Church. I don't know exactly when, but a while back they took the word Baptist out of their church. They didn't want people to believe that they were judgmental, and sometimes people think that Baptists are judgmental, and so they didn't want that to be a reason that some of the people came, because they don't want to think They don't want people to think that they're going to judge them if they come to their church, because part of the main thing about Lake Pointe is everyone is welcome. They want everybody to come. They want everybody to come as you are. You know, the motto is come as you are, for sure, but just don't stay as you are, right? So if you're a true believer in Jesus, then hopefully he changes you from the inside out, right? And so they took the word Baptist out of their name. And I first, like I mentioned, I first got involved with the Mesquite Townies campus off Emporium Circle, across the street from Townies Mall. That was my home church since about 2013, 2014 until about 2021. So I was a very devout leader of that church. I did a lot there. I did a lot of women's ministries. Um, we were involved in our main life group with the same people for many years, so I got to know them, get real close with them, got to do a lot of living life with them. Um, I was involved in different ministries. There is a homeless ministry in Dallas called Soul Church. We would go there once a month for like 7 years, and we would go help feed the homeless, amongst many other things. I did it for a very long time. Uh, I would lead women's ministries in the church. I did a children's ministry where I led it for Song of Solomon. I did that like 3 times. I did one on Book of Ruth, and I did one on 12 Women of the Bible. So, like I said, I was very involved there. The reason I first was introduced to the church was in 2013. I actually, and I don't mind talking about this, I had gone through a hard time in my life, and I had got addicted to drugs, pretty bad drugs, for about a year of my life after I went through a divorce of my first marriage. I just didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to cope with it, so I turned to self-medicating with drugs. So that's basically what happened. It was a very rough time in my life, but it caused me to have other hardships that would happen, right? It's like a domino effect. If you get involved with drugs, then a lot of other bad things start happening in your life. So that's what happened with me. I ended up losing custody of my kids because of it, having to fight hard to get them back, get clean, get off the drugs. I ended up getting pregnant in the midst of my addiction with another child. I didn't want what happened to my other ones to happen to this new baby, and so it immediately motivated me to stop and go get help. So I went and got help, and for emotionally learning and spiritually, just learning to I basically had to learn to change my entire life, and every depression or emotional and mental condition that I had at that time, I had to just learn how to rework all of it. So on top of getting sober and on top of trying to get all my kids back, so it was a lot. But it was one of the most transforming times in my life. I deeply appreciate all of that I had to go through to get to where I am now. And I went to a women's only sober place called Nexus on the edge of Dallas and Mesquite off of La Prada. I checked myself in there to get clean. In 2013, I was a few months pregnant with my son Jacob, who is 10 now. Um, so I ended up staying there for about 4 or 5 months, getting clean, getting my life. Anyway, the time that I was at that women's rehab facility, Nexus, they introduced me to Lake Pointe Church. Not only did they introduce me to them, but they would drive us up there every week, almost twice a week sometimes, to go be part of their service. And so it was a time where I was getting help, and I was also freely just being escorted and taken up to this church. And so I just kept going, and I just kept going at a time that I wanted to really change my life, genuinely wanted to. And I don't know, I fell in love with Christianity and with Jesus inside those walls during that time, and it really did something to my core, and it really stuck with me, and it forever changed me. And became born again Christian from going to the women's rehab facility. I remember being really big and pregnant, and coming in with a lot of other women from the area at that time that had checked into the rehab just like I did, and they were big and pregnant as well. And we were getting unloaded from this women's rehab bus facility every week to this church that says they're non-judgmental because they took Baptist off of their name, and they're welcoming us, and they're hugging on us, and they're loving on us, and they're wanting to be mentoring to us and sponsoring us and helping us get our life back on track. And it was just a really beautiful thing to happen to us and other women pregnant. You're at a crossroads when you're pregnant and trying to get clean. It's really like can be shameful. It can be really hard to admit that you need such a drastic change in your life. But that church made it easy. They really did. They welcomed us. They did not judge us once. And so that really stuck with me, that they're not a judgmental church. Anyway, that's my personal story with them. But I have other things that I believe the Town East campus many years ago when I was like a teenager, so it's a really long time, maybe like 30 years ago. It used to be the building of like a teenage entertainment place. It had laser and pool tables, but I can't remember the name of it. Qzar or Q Lazar, something like that, to that effect. And that's the building that it used to be. And then I remember many, many years later going to that same building. So I used to go to like have fun and parties as a teenager. And then many years later, I go back to that same Town East campus, and it's now Lake Pointe Church, who helped me get my life on track. And I just thought that was really neat. But anyway, that's some of the history of that particular building. And then the history of the Rockwall campus used to be Church on the Rock. So that's some history from that one. Yeah, so Lake Pointe is Baptist, but again, they don't like to really express that. They don't want people to think they're judgmental. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I did apply some photos with it of just some random ones of me throughout the years being a part of it. The Town East Mesquite campus is where me and my husband were both baptized many years ago, first there, so that's a good memory we have of there as well. My son Jacob was baptized at the North Dallas location recently. So again, I have many, many great memories of Lake Pointe, so I'm going to attach those pictures here, along with a few of the other different campuses. Thank you for listening and watching my video, and have a great day. Bye-bye.